hundreds of apartments. And I was the guy who would go in for some minor repair, perhaps some plumbing or some wall repair work or something like that. And if I've done anything for the world, I've really learned to mellow out in my old age. And I mean, I had a lot of mellowing to do. And working for that couple of fish, they mostly rented to college kids. What fun that was to interact with those kids working in their apartments. So they probably made me a calmer individual, which is some kind of gift to the earth.
There you go.
That's it.
Okay. John Garry.
Well, I'm Tom and Ann's middle son, so Pat's my uncle. And I really enjoy teaching third grade in Sioux Falls, even during COVID times. And as of 6 years ago, December 27th, I got married to Marjorie, love of my life, and we combined our two families, her twin boys and my daughter. So been enjoying life with her. She's an orchestra teacher in Sioux Falls and does private lessons out of her home, and is with the South Dakota Symphony. So,
Oh, wow. Impressive.
yeah.
Thank you. Miss Leah.
Oh, my unmute wasn't working there. Sorry, everyone. I'm Leah. I am Pat Garry's oldest grandchild from Shannon Garry, the oldest daughter of Pat Garry. And I was about 5 when my grandpa Pat passed away. And let's see, what have I done for the world or myself? I recently purchased my first home that I own by myself. And it's for me and my 6-year-old son, Arbor. And we have a 16-year-old kitty cat and a 12-and-a-half-year-old doggy that we rescued from shelters a while back. So yeah, we just all live here in this house now in Colorado. And that's what I've done.
Oh,
And you've done a lot for the planet because you're in the conservation world.
Yeah, I guess I do things for the planet. I work for Bureau of Land Management
wow.
as a biologist and ecologist. So I work on management of sensitive and threatened species. Yeah, called sage grouse.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you zero-scaped like 3 houses.
Yeah. Yes, I'm handy. I'm a handy woman, and I do a lot of things on my own, probably just like Grandpa Pat did. So I don't like to pay people to do things.
Oh, that reminds me of a favorite story of Pat. Okay, Miss Shannon.
Okay, well, I am Pat's oldest daughter. And what have I done? I had 3 amazing children who are making the world a better place every day, and soon to be 3 amazing grandsons that I'm just so happy. I just got notice that Charles and Shyla are on their way to the hospital, so we'll see if this is the real deal. Other things I've been doing, I mean, I don't know if it's for the planet, but it sure is making the pandemic better. We make great beer, so we're drinking a lot of it and selling, and so just enjoying owning a brewery and passing the days day at a time, because who the heck knows what'll happen tomorrow. I think it's taught me a lot about life. I think running a small business during a pandemic will get your attention pretty quick, and not taking yourself so seriously, because at the end of the day, goes under, it survives, and you just keep trudging along. For me, the weirdness of the last year, I guess, would be that on one end, I'm running a brewery, and on the other end, I'm teaching people how to be healthcare workers who've never taken care of patients before, and they're trying to teach them all about COVID and what to do and how to go into rooms and how to gear up and all of that. So me and my team of 12 at the hospital have trained probably about 600 people at this point.
Wow.
Just getting ready. We're really gearing up here. We've got a bunch of nurses aides that we've brought in because there just aren't enough RNs in the world. But I guess that feels pretty good. I have a great team at the hospital to support me and my emotional needs every day. So, but that's me. Not much else, just day at a time in it.
Anytime. Thank you. Daughter Sarah.
Oh, okay. Let's see, Pat's youngest, very youngest with my mom, only, was 9 months old when he passed, so didn't get to know him and live through you guys and your stories. Let's see. Also haven't done much for the world, but I graduated in 2014 from UT, University of Texas, and with human development degree. Kind of did some EMT work for a second, worked in the medical field for a second. So, but it was in dermatology. I took a lot of skin cancer off of people in Texas, so that was good. Otherwise, so now I'm really into, like the Innocence Project and wrongful conviction stuff. So I want to maybe see and get into some of that a little bit. But
How old are you now, Sarah?
32.
You. Okay.
I'm right in the middle of Leah and Beth. So I'm a great aunt
Yeah.
to but almost 3 now, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So just crazy.
Yeah, you're in the middle of Beth and Charles.
Oh, Charles, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Charles
Beth
is
used to
30.
Beth
and
used to
Beth is
pick
34.
Beth used to pick on you.
I believe it. I don't remember a thing, Beth.
Sorry.
Okay. And you know who I am, second wife of Pat Garry. And let's see, I guess the one thing that I'm proudest of that I feel, you know, I've done quite a bit to help folks is I'm the founder of Austin Nonprofit Meetup, and I do monthly presentations online, and my audience has grown to be nationwide, but you would think I'd be making money at that, and I'm not. So, but it's still, it's a fun thing to do, and I like helping. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to do the PowerPoint. Okay, and the one thing about this that I haven't learned how to do is start it in the right place. So give me a second here. Yeah, I was thinking. Okay, here we go. Now, so I'm going to start. Now, here's this picture I'm sure a lot of you have seen. It's on the cover of the family tree with the patriarch, Bernard, on the far left, first row, holding the little girl that I think that's Helen, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, wait, oops. Now, here's my question for Sister Elaine, who might have the best idea about this. At the end, it says Grandma Susan. Is Grandma Susan the little lady in black, or the bigger lady next to her?
I think it's the
Not
lady,
really sure.
Beg your pardon?
How do you
the
know?
lady
I'm
in
not
black.
sure.
The one in black.
I thought it's one in black, the way the wording is at the bottom. So think about this. That little woman had 13 kids, and they're all there in that picture. Oh my gosh. I didn't really think about that before. And she's actually got a smile on her face too. That's amazing.
You have the whole picture showing there, Nancy?
Yes, that is the whole picture.
Well,
Oh, it's
there's
probably.
names at the bottom.
Yeah.
Names are at the bottom, which makes Merle, Pat's dad, in between the two women in the first row, right? Merle.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
says Charlie, Frank, Leo, Joe, Ray, Harry. Is that right? Is that the back row?
Yes.
Okay, and then you have Ethel, May, what is it? Ruth? Does it say Ruth?
I can't see that.
No.
Jean, Grace, Merle, and Grandma Susan.
So I think Merle is right behind, like in the second kind of
Right.
row, the young looking one.
That's Merle there.
Yeah, right? Hey, can you
Yep.
see my cursor? Can you see my cursor?
I
Okay,
can see your cursor.
We
okay,
can't see the other one.
that's helpful because I think this is Merle right here.
Yes, I
All
think
right.
it is.
Now, my next question is this Merle and Lena, guys?
Yep.
I
Yes.
think some.
Yes?
I have her eyebrows.
I am.
I do.
I think this is a beautiful couple.
I have dads.
I have her nose too. Got her nose too. A
Dads
little-
too.
So this is Pat's mom and dad. All right, now this is the picture I think is really fantastic. This is Lena.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
My theory is that this might have been a painting, or it's a picture that was colorized, you know, which probably is more likely because Lena's parents would have been born in the 1800s or something, wouldn't they have? Am I mistaken? Or I don't know. I think that's probably about right. But this is I love this picture. This was
Yeah.
fun. All right, moving on. There's Pat at H1. And this is another favorite picture.
Rose and Dennis.
Yeah, this is just classic, just classic. So this must have been before everybody went away, right? Where they were in the same home, I'm guessing.
Yes, that would be before.
Okay, just cute. So, and they're dressed so cute. And I can't imagine having 6 kids and dressing them all the time. Trouble with one. So, okay, Sister Elaine, is this your family?
yes,
Okay, I wasn't sure.
yes,
All right,
right.
Pat's
And
down.
Pat's down at the bottom, right.
Okay, keep going. Who's where?
Okay, all right, Pat's down at the bottom, and then I'm right next to him.
Right here.
Then right behind me is Mom, Josie,
That's it. And that's Harry.
and to her left is Harry.
Here,
Then to the left, front, Harry,
wait. no, he's
and Don is next to Dad.
over here on the right, way back over here.
Okay, I'm next to Pat in the bottom row.
Right.
Yeah, Pat was 5 years younger than me. So Pat came when he was about 2 years old. So I'm about 7.
Okay.
Way on the top row is Ken and Gerald.
Okay.
And then right below Ken is my one and only sister. That's Rose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just had the one sister.
Okay.
Then in the row lower than Rose is way on yeah, that's Jim is the first one. And then Russ, that's Father Ron's dad.
Okay. Okay.
And then between Mom and Dad is Lester.
That's Lester. Okay.
That's Lester. Yeah, Lester's the youngest boy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like I knew Lester about the best. It seems like
Yeah, yeah.
he was a
And seeing everyone in that picture has gone to eternity except me.
Yeah.
And even Pat, who was 5 years younger than me, he died he was not even 45 years old when he died.
Right.
And most of my brothers, when they knew they were dying of cancer, said, Elaine, when you leave, would you turn out the light? And I said, no, I don't want to be the last one, but it turns out I am. But most of them died of cancer
Yeah.
or heart, or Russ was aneurysm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a wonderful picture. I've got that on my wall here in my apartment.
You know, the other thing I've noticed about Bernard and that side of the family, lots of
Yeah.
men, lots of boys, all the way down,
Yeah.
all the way down to the generations, way more boys than girls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many more boys, right?
Okay.
Oh, that's a wonderful picture. Oh, Tom and Joe, you can tell us that picture.
Joe, go ahead and start identifying.
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory.
I don't,
Bottom left is Tom. Next to him is Carol. That's me in the striped shirt. And next to me is Pat. Dennis right behind us, Merle, and Rose.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Rose was the oldest girl,
Yeah.
the oldest one. Yeah.
Where was that taken, Joe? Was that when he was visiting probably the McGinnises, do you think?
You know, I think so. It would have been one of Merle's visits to one of the many locations.
I was rarely allowed to be with you guys, so it had to be something special, you know, so.
Yeah.
He would pick up Pat more often than he would pick up Tom, so I never quite figured that out.
Well,
debated
for
that.
what it's worth, he would drop me off more often than he dropped anybody else off.
You can see it from my
Remember,
picture there.
Pat used to Pat spent 2 weeks with the family every summer. I remember Merle would come and get him and he would spend 2 weeks. And I don't remember if that was in the children's home or if that was in the Mitchell home, but I know every summer Pat spent 2 weeks with the family because
Sure,
my
first-
mom wanted him to know his family.
First time I heard anything about that, my God.
Really? Oh, and you didn't get to go, Tom?
No, heavens, no, you're breaking it to me for the first time.
We'll have to talk someday in church after church.
Well, and I remember Pat telling me that he remembers being picked up, but he always would ask his dad, why do I have to go back? Why can't I?
Yeah.
I never got a good answer.
He felt pulled, like, where do I belong? Do I
Yes.
belong with your family? Do I belong? Yeah, he was pulled. Yeah, he was pulled, like, where do I belong? Yeah,
Look how handsome Dennis is.
yes. Oh, there's another, oh, there's with the patriarch.
Yeah.
Okay, who is the Grandpa Gary? Is that Bernard? No. Who is that?
Yes,
Bernard,
That is,
Bernard.
our
The
grandpa.
dad of that big family team.
and I am making this up. Is it the Mitchell house?
Oh,
Yeah, that would be the Mitchell
It's
apartment.
1956 on the side.
wow. That'd be the house on 10th Street, I think, in Mitchell, if it's 56. But
Yeah.
since Grandpa's there, it must have been at Grace's apartment. I don't know.
Could
Oh,
it
that could
be?
be.
I think so. I think that's where it was. And again,
think
notice
Bernard died in
I
57.
wasn't invited again there also, you know.
I see that, Tom. I didn't know that.
I'm just really grateful, Nancy, that you've allowed me to be part of this group.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You know, sadly, there was a lot of discussion about how our family was all, you know, broken apart, and two of us went away and lived with aunt and uncles, who incidentally were our godparents. So,
Wow.
you know, in those days, godparenting was taken seriously, and so if you had a kid that needed to be placed somewhere, you just sent him off to the godparents, and it was their obligation to take care of him. But when Rose was sick and diagnosed with cancer, I think that was the first time when all of us were together and discussed our various woes and all of the things that we thought were unfair in our lives. And that was the first time actually that we shared some of the family discussions that we never had a chance to do prior to that. And the same thing happened, I think, to some extent when Pat was diagnosed as well. So.
Well,
So,
Tom, the people
fortunately-
you lived with, they adopted you, Tom, right?
No, I was never adopted.
Oh, I
Legally.
thought you were, okay, because we didn't adopt Pat.
To be adopted.
You did or you didn't?
Probably did not, wouldn't want to give you up to adoption, I'm sure. It's like he didn't want you to get married.
Yeah, that too.
Well, I'm grateful that you guys all came together at some point because it's allowed me to get to know you and have a sense of family, which we didn't have in my family at all. So you guys have been my family. So I'm grateful. So what's next? Oh, yes.
Oh, there's a handsome guy.
And it's so weird that he was a social worker for a while, and I don't even know how long that was. Does anybody know how long he did that?
that was in Canton, but I don't know how long he was there.
About half a minute.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Weird.
I-
Yeah, not very long, because I remember in 72, I don't think he was working, when he moved to Rapid, he went in with, I think it was GAB,
Yeah.
General,
Mhm.
whatever.
Insurance.
There you
adjustment
go.
business. Yeah.
I think he did it a year or two though, because I can remember visiting them at their apartment here in Sioux Falls. He lived in Sioux Falls and rented an apartment over by Augustana University. So, but I think he saw the handwriting on the wall that you're never going to make a lot of money doing that. So he went into the lucrative business.
He was definitely a businessman, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very good.
You know, hey, Tom, do you know how he ended up in Rapid to have me if he wasn't living here? How did they end up here? Because I think mom was at the dog track when she went into labor or something.
Me.
You know, there would be a lot of stories. We'd have to do a lot of Zooming to talk about your mom and dad in those years, I think. But I don't know that, Shannon. I think he had, you know, he started doing the insurance adjusting and I think realized that's what he wanted to do and rose through the ranks kind of quickly. And then didn't he come out there to work with a partner in?
Yeah.
Joe, you should know this more than I. Wasn't there
Yes.
a partner there that they decided to start their own agency, and that's how you make money is to
And
be,
then the flood.
yeah.
Well,
Like,
actually, I don't think we lived here until like, I thought it was about 72 and I was 6 by then. It was right before the flood when they bought that house.
Yeah.
So it might have been 71, but somehow they were in Rapid when they had me. And I think it was probably around the time of this picture. Is there a date on this, Nancy, at all?
No, of course not. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Interesting though.
Yeah, Lincoln County, of course, would be Canton, next to Sioux Falls here.
All right, what's next? Oh, okay. Look at the hair on those two men.
Oh, yeah.
We inherited that from our dad and mom, I think.
So Carol, is this your house?
No, this
It's
is
Rose.
Dennis's house. I
This is Dennis's
Dennis.
house.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
I
in-
believe this is when, wasn't this when we were together with Rosie?
I
Yep.
think so.
Yeah, that was the reunion.
This was our
That's-
reunion, yeah,
That's
There's-
Dennis's
There's
house.
Yeah.
yeah.
Carol, is this you on the couch?
It's me on the couch.
Okay. Gosh, beautiful. You guys are so beautiful people, all of you. Here is comparisons, which I think are cool. So this must have been a different reunion years later, right?
I think the one on the left is still Dennis's house, but
Okay.
is the other one at your place, Carol?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Right here, there.
Possible. Isn't that something? Yes, it is. I see the ceiling light now. Yeah. That was my place.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
is it?
Yeah, Joe's.
Okay.
We all seem happy.
Yes. Oh, you guys are just a cool bunch of people. All right, here we go.
So that would have been after Pat was gone then, once.
Oh,
That's
That'd be me.
that one, yeah.
Yeah.
That was Sarah.
That's my little face there, that annoyed face.
oh. She was beautiful even then, wasn't she?
Looked pretty upset. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Sarah, remember the squeaky shirt you had? Sarah,
Yeah, I did not like the squeaky shirt. He did.
we have a film where Pat is just freaking her over and over and over, and she's like freaked out. I think it's so funny. All right. Anyway, here's the last picture I have, and this of course was that house that I had up on the hill, and look at Leah holding Sarah. Isn't that cute?
I was just gonna say, I think that's Leah, right? Because she's the oldest.
Oh,
Oh,
So Justin, Maria.
But
I am
Mom,
rocking that hair, man. I
yeah,
am rocking
Mario over there with the yellow blonde
Yeah.
hair.
it. Whatever.
Yeah, I hadn't quite figured out I had naturally curly hair at that point, so I got a perm. Isn't that funny? only perm I've ever had in my life. And I just can't even believe I did that. Look at that.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
awesome.
Oh, I like it.
Nancy, are you taking the picture? You must be.
No,
Oh,
she's over
over
there.
on the left kissing my head.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
So who is taking the picture?
Don't know.
Probably a neighbor.
I wasn't invited
Probably.
either, so
I don't,
I'm
No.
digging Jay's socks. He's
really,
I am loving his socks, man.
this is your house on the hill, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's the end of that. Mark, did you here for a while?
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
Yes, we lost our internet. We're out in the country, so sorry.
Oh, I forgot about your internet. Yeah. I mean,
Thanks for letting us back in.
Okay. Last but not least, I just want to share Pat's stories. Sarah may not have any unless you remember others that you've been told.
No, I would just always remember. I mean, I remember the basic ones, the ones where he was leaning over to talk to Sally at one point in
Truck stop.
yeah, in the truck stop breakfast situation. So that one's always funny. And then the one with the fish to find the cat.
Tell the story.
I think those are some of the basic ones I remember.
Well, you didn't really tell them.
That was
Well, no, I don't
Maria's
know them.
fault.
I just get them
The
from the
whole-
second hand thing.
Yeah, the whole fish is Maria's fault, isn't it, Mari?
No, actually it's dad's. So okay, middle child story. You know, just saying. John, you can relate to this. We got to stick together, bud. So it was right after the flood. Dad and the neighbors, mom are running around. You know, we literally lived a block on Land Street, a block from the cemetery. So we had flowers and headstones and such all over the yard, or all over the everything, everywhere. It was a flood, right? So mom plants my butt right on the front steps, and she's like, "Do not move. You cannot leave. Just stay here." I must be 4, maybe. And so I'm sitting at the front steps, and this cat comes up, and I'm thinking, that's a pretty cat. I want to bring this cat inside. And I put my hand or my arm around the head of the cat, and I'm trying to pull it in, and it bites me. It doesn't want to go in the house. And so I'm bawling, and it tore the skin pretty well. And mom comes home, freaks out, gets dad involved. And I don't remember much. I just remember the sheriff somehow, or somebody in a uniform. I want to say it's a sheriff. And dad go up in a Yukon, or a big, whatever that was back then, in a truck. And I just remember sitting in the back seat, and I had to ID the cat. I came like it's a big yellow cat. I don't recall. Long story short, they shot it. I'm sorry, Nancy. They shot the damn
you're
cat.
you're missing the best part of the story.
God, I'm
What are you
sorry. I
talking
forgot.
about?
I was
No,
so.
this isn't how the story goes at all. No,
they couldn't
you have
find
no
the cat.
memory.
Oh, they
The story
find the
goes
cat.
like this.
They couldn't find the cat.
Mom would not let dad go out and shoot the cat because she didn't believe in that stuff. So she told dad he needed to go get like a humane society type of a thing that you
Go get
catch
the cat,
animals
yeah.
in. And so dad
big
pulls out a
cage.
couple of, yes, it's a cage. And they
Big
put it in
rabbit
the-
cage. Yes.
They put it in the yard, and dad always dressed in suits. I mean, I think the first time I saw him in jeans was like, I don't know, 1981 when I was in high school, and I talked him into 501 button flies. Well, that didn't
Yeah, I
go
remember
well.
that.
He looked ridiculous, but
You did. You
yeah. So he had these nice suits, and they were always, the jacket, never just the shirt and the pants when he was out, and he had nice shoes that went with it because he'd always get them resold. He never bought new shoes. He would just keep resoling the same shoes at the little shoe place down here. So we'd polish them all up. And that day he came home, and he was wearing this nice suit. I'll not forget it, because back then people sat out on their porch, neighbors would sit out and drink tea and watch other people because they had nothing else to do and gossip, right? So dad took some frozen fish from the fridge, and he tied the fish tail on a rope, and he pulled that rope around the block like twice. And people would say, Pat, what are you doing? Kind of like laughing at him. And he would first he would say, go to hell, son of a bitch, or something. Sorry, Sister Elaine, but he did. And
Yeah.
he would like tell him to shut up, and he'd say, well, what's wrong? Have you ever seen a man walk his fish before? And he walked this fish around, and then he would drag it into this cage, and I'll be damned if he didn't catch like 4 or 5 cats. I'm pretty sure not one of them was the one, but they were trying to keep Mari from getting rabies shots, because back then you had to go get shots and all that jazz. But
200 of
I
them.
don't really remember. I don't think
still
they
do.
caught the cat, but I think they were
got the
satisfied with the
cat.
6 or 7 they caught. I don't know. And so she didn't get shots, but that's how the story went.
I have a lot of memories of off. Like there's the traditional way to do things, and then there's our way of doing things. So I have hundreds of those, like, well, that would make sense. That's a Garry thing to do. We do that kind of, like there's the normal way, and then there's our way. And that's how we would catch
That's
those
what the
cats.
other story I remembered now is the one where he tried to fit in the thing that they already built but didn't measure.
That's
actually
Joe.
putting it in.
That's Joe's story.
Oh my
Is it
God, Joe!
Or is
Do you
it
remember
Joe
that?
and Dad?
Which story?
The wardrobe.
Didn't you help with the wardrobe, Joe?
Sure did.
The wardrobe, that big ugly green wardrobe that we had to get downstairs. Wasn't that you and Dennis?
Yes, it was.
Was
Okay.
it? I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember.
It didn't
I remember.
fit, so they had to take out part of
Stairs?
the
They took the
stairs
stairs
just
out.
to fit the wardrobe into the house.
They didn't undo the wardrobe. They didn't take apart
Right.
this beautifully done, well done cedar wardrobe on wheels. They take out the staircase, because that is the right thing to do in the Garry home. We take out the staircase. Don't you remember that?
It must have been fun, but
It was fun. We enjoyed it. Us kids, we're watching this going, that makes sense. Yeah. Let's take out the staircase.
I'm going to call on people to get stories. So we'll go around again because we're having way too much fun. Okay, so Carol,
Yes,
you got a Pat story?
my backstory. What do you mean?
A Pat story, a story.
Oh, wow. I don't have any. I just know that he had a fabulous smile. I think he talked a lot about his wife giving furniture away all the time from the house.
That's my story. Sid.
Yeah,
And he had,
That's a Joe story.
Oh.
That's my.
remember that?
Yes. You want me to tell that one? I'll never forget this one. Pat had invited Sally and I over to his house. I don't recall what the event was, but it was a sunshiny day, and he invited us over for coffee and treats. And it was probably some event that had to do with the kids. I don't know. But anyway, he's in the house making coffee when we arrive. And Sally and I are just kind of standing in the kitchen making small talk with him when I noticed there was no furniture in the living room. You had to know Pat. You almost had to be there. But he had just quit smoking, I think, if I remember. And he was chewing gum. And he would chew gum. Like he just chewed that gum. And he had this grin on his face. It wasn't a smile so much, just a grin when he was answering your questions. And so just making small, I said, Pat, where's your furniture? And he always talked in a fast clip. He'd
Right.
say, Trish gave it away. And so I tried to feign surprise. And I said, oh, I see. And he's still chewing that gum and making coffee and setting the table up. And I said, well, what'd you do with it? She gave it away. And again, he's just chewing gum and grinning at me. And so I said to him, well, now what are you going to do? Oh, we'll just buy some more. And you had to know, Pat, you had to understand that he was probably as surprised as I was that the furniture wasn't in the living room, but he wasn't that surprised. You know what I mean? It didn't surprise him that much. And that's just how he was to me. He was always jovial, And he just had a good heart. He had a good heart. He had his faults. We all do.
Yeah.
But it was no big problem for him to just go buy some more furniture.
Yeah.
That's just one. But anyway, there's lots of stories about Pat. That's the one I remember best.
All right. I'll go, I guess. I have two. I have one.
Oh,
Beth reminded me of, actually, tons of them, but Beth reminded me of one I'd forgotten about, the typical Garry. At the house on the hill, we had a room that was sort of in an odd spot. We were going to turn it into a root cellar. It was in the basement, sort of behind one of the bedrooms. It was just an odd place. I'm not sure what it was originally, but it had a cement floor, so it seemed perfect for a root cellar. But also, Pat wanted to put the cat boxes down there. You know, I had cats and dogs. But anyway, he wanted to put the cat boxes in there, but there was a door to that room. So he was going to cut a cat door, so the kitties could go in, small enough for the kitties, but not too big for the dogs. The dogs could stay out, right? So he did this while I was at work one day. He took the door off its hinges and started cutting the little cat door. And the way he told the story was, he thought to himself, this is the right end, right? and he answered himself, yeah, that's the right end. And he cuts the puts the door back in, of course, it's way up at the top.
Puts it back on the hinges and the cat door is at the top of the door rather than being where the cats need to be at the bottom of the door.
I got home and he said, "Have you got a ladder for them?"
Cat might have been a jumper though, Nancy.
Yeah, so that's my story. Okay. How about Father Ron? You got one?
I'm remembering visiting him in the office and he politely said, I'm the only insurance adjuster that'll go to the poverty of the Pine Ridge. But didn't you guys make a great friend with Basil Braveheart with that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
He treated everybody with the same respect or business-like, or there was a goodness about Pat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. One of the things about Pat that always impressed me, I'm very kind of high anxiety, obsessive compulsive, and Pat had those tendencies, but when anybody walked in his office, a friend, he would stop what he was doing and attend to them, no matter what it was they were there for. And I always felt a little irritated when people bugged me at my office, Not Pat, he just always had time for everybody. Yeah. All right. Yes. How about Leah? Do you have any memories of Grandpa Pat?
I think some of my memories were the last memories.
Mm-hmm.
So I think since I was only 5, maybe going maybe 5.5. I can't remember. I think 5.5. I think some of my memories were in your last house and sitting at the table in the kitchen and doing artwork with Grandpa Pat, and then going on a little hike or a stroll around the backyard area in the trees, kind of up a hill maybe, just walking around with him, those types of things at the house. And then yeah, I think that's, those are the main memories I have. Yeah, I think just going on the walk in the outdoors, probably the most distinct memory I have.
That's so nice. I'm glad you have those.
Yeah.
How about Sister Elaine? I know you've probably got more than anybody.
Oh, I've got a lot of them, but the one that comes to my mind now is, Nancy, I was at your wedding.
Yes, you were.
And I know I got a ride out there with some couple, and I don't remember if I stayed with you or whatever, but when I got there, Pat said, well, we're going to get married today. Okay, so we got married. And I remember I took a lot of pictures. So then when I got back to Salem, I was telling my dad, Harry, about this. And Dad said, was there a priest there? And I said, no, Dad, there wasn't a priest, but God was there. Oh, okay, then that was okay.
Oh,
But no, that was a very special time. That was a good time. Yep, yep.
oh, thank you for sharing that. That is so important to
You
hear.
bet, right? Yep.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. John?
I was just always touched with the video compilation that he put together for Sarah, knowing that his time was
Oh,
coming to an end there. So I was just touched to know that he was doing these different activities so that she could look at it later. So, yeah.
actually, for all of his kids, you know?
Anthony, can I come back on, follow up on that story?
Yes.
The last few months before Pat died, he would call me Sunday nights. And we would say, no, I'm not feeling so good. But he said, I want to make a video for my family because I want them to know who I am and how much I love them. So each week, I would say, Pat, did you make it yet? No, I didn't make it yet. Next week, Pat, did you make the video? No. Elaine, I really don't feel good. And I said, and I swallowed and I said, Pat, I don't know that you ever will feel good.
Wow.
I would just, you make the video and then if you feel better, you can make it again. So that video is something that I've lost track of. When I tried to share it with my brothers or my sister said, no, I don't want to see it. But I think I shared it with the brothers and I'm not sure where it ended up. But it was so precious. And Nancy, I think you took the video and he talked to Shannon and he talked to Maria. You weren't there, but he talked to you on the video. And then he's holding you, Sarah. And he's saying, you're not going to get to know me, but I want you to know who I am. It was so tender. And then at the end, he sings a couple songs. Today, where the blossoms still cling to the vine. It was just really precious.
Yeah.
And then about a week after he died, I think either Nancy, you and I were talking or something, and I said, did Pat ever get that video? He must not have got it made. Well, it came in the mail about a week or so afterwards. So that was pretty special. But he wanted you kids to know he loved you so much. Oh, and Justin was laying on top of Pat.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, when I'm watching the video, I'm wanting to say, Justin, get off, because I thought he was crushing his lungs. But he wanted to talk to Justin, and he was telling Justin again how much he loved you and gave you good advice. And then Nancy, you said to Justin, don't you want to say something to your dad? And he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it at that time. But that was precious. Thank you for letting me come back on and tell those memories. Yep.
Gosh, thank you so much for sharing. Whew. Mark, how about you?
I think a lot of what I did was inspired somewhat by Pat, because I started working with the Indian Health Service, and I remember he used to talk to me about, when I was just very young, about working with going out to the reservation. So some of what I do, or what I still do, because I still work with predominantly Native children, is from inspiration from that. And I just remember when he would come to our house and stay, I would always be kicked out of my bedroom, which was fine. And he would sleep in my bedroom, no big deal. But he would always leave these little messages around. You would hide him. And so I would find him like later. And one of them I found like way later. I mean, where he said, anytime you're in Rapid City, you know, here's a burger on me and fries, and we can go hang out and have a Coke. So he would have these little messages, and I still have one of them somewhere in one of my things. He stayed, I think, 3 times in my room. So that was kind of, I always think of that when I think of Pat. He had such a kind heart. So.
Oh, there's stories I've never even heard. Tom, did you go?
What was that now? I'm sorry.
Did you share one? I can't remember.
I haven't. I've been trying to, you know, I remember Brother Pat having that guitar and singing. I didn't know he did that really. I didn't know much about his time at Salem St. Mary's School, where he graduated from high school. But then when we got together for those 3 years in college, he would sing, and we got to do a little bit of that, living in Merle's house. I don't know if the rest of you knew that we got together for the first time, as I said, at Dakota Wesleyan. Both of us were going to school there, but we lived with Merle. That was the first time first time Pat had ever lived with our father in that little house on, where was it, Joe? 10th Street?
12.
12th. It was actually a 1-bedroom house. So if you can imagine 2 college guys and our dad living in the same place, but that's what we did. And it worked out well. But I always thought that, all of the Garry brothers, I think, sing. And I always thought, boy, Pat can play that guitar. He can sing. If we'd have just all gotten together at the right time, we could have been, like the Four Seasons, maybe. We had to use a different name that had already been taken. But, and I don't know if anybody could have done the Frankie Valli part, but I'm pretty sure we all could sing well enough that we should have had a chance to do more of that, but never did. I always regretted that.
What a great idea. How about Ann?
I just remember how kind he was. I remember his kindness, his big smile, like you said. And I remember the last time that he came out to our house. And I'm learning these things. I never knew about you, Mark, about those notes. But anyway, when he came out to our house, I think it was the last time, and he could hardly move. He had such backaches. And this is before he was even knew that he had cancer. And he came and he sat in one of our chairs at the dining room table, and he was in such pain. And yet he made that long trip out in the car to our house. And it was shortly after that, I think, that he got his diagnosis. And I just remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, boy. I have one more. I don't know, Shannon, did you want to share a story that's not about Maria?
My favorite memory of my dad, and I think about it almost every night because I live out in the woods. And I live out in the woods on purpose because of Dad, probably. Dad used to love the Black Hills. He loved the woods. We would sit outside in that swing that I think you might have helped with a little, Joe. I don't remember if it was you or my mom's brother, but when we built that deck, Dad wanted that swing built into the deck outside. And we would sit out there almost, I would say, a couple times a week, and it would just be silence. We wouldn't really talk, but we would look at the stars together. Another thing Dad loved to do that I remember fondly was we would go to the mall when it opened, and that was probably 1981 or so when I was a teenager. And his friend owned the Orange Julius place, and so we would go and get probably some discount. I don't know, maybe it's the Pat Special free Orange Julius. But we would sit in the mall and just watch people and just comment. And he was the most witty, sarcastic, charismatic person. Had a temper. Don't get me wrong. Mari and I know the temper, but he was just a funny dang guy, and he was just fun to be around and just talk. So I really enjoyed that time as well as going to River Park every Saturday and singing with him. I went out quite a bit to River Park, so I was blessed with that I got to spend that time. And he really could sing and play the guitar. Trailers for Sale or Rent. I mean, I still, when that song comes on, I cry every time.
Woo! Boy, you guys get me. All right, I just had one other little story before we end up here. I hope it's okay to tell this story, but Pat used to go with me to some of the Lakota religious stuff, right? And our friends were Bill and Lorraine Braveheart. Bill Braveheart was Basil's brother. And we would go down to the reservation Actually, for a while, we went to a medicine man. His name was Grover Horndaniel. And the very first time Pat was in a sweat lodge, Bill and Lorraine took us down, and we had two other of our AA friends were with us. And it was Pat's first experience, and you know, sweat lodges are hot. And I think most of you probably know how they work, you know, the 4 rounds, and you know, you get a break in between rounds, but the break never seems like quite enough because it's so hot. Well, anyway, so we did the sweat, and we were driving back, and Bill and Lorraine were asking Pat, well, what do you think? What was your experience like? And Pat said that he saw Jesus and Tonkashala hovering over the sweat lodge, touching hands, you know, like, can you see like this? Only over the sweat lodge, right? And Bill and Lorraine freaked out. They went, oh my God, you realize how special that is? You had yourself a vision. Oh, wow. And they couldn't stop talking. They said, oh my, it was so exciting. And then Pat said, well, heck, they put me in a small, dark place and heated up to a gazillion degrees and shut off all my air. I'm bound to see anything. It's one of my favorites too.
So Nancy,
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but the hospital here sponsors Lakota Lands tours. And it's a week-long instructional on a bus, and you go out all day long, every single day for 5 days, and they take you on tours of all the different reservations, and they talk about the history, Wounded Knee and all of that. Well, so I did that, probably spent about 4 years now. And then the next year, the original group of us that went out on the original bus, we got to do a spiritual journey. So we got to go to Sundance, and I got to also do a sweat lodge. And I did that because I really wanted to experience what Dad had gone through in his last few months of life, and just to kind of heal, because I don't know that I was very in tune with that when he was going through his funeral. It was very difficult for me, doing the peace pipe ceremony they did and all of the burial rituals they did during his funeral. So for me, it was super healing to be able to go and just experience that. So if anyone gets that opportunity, it sure is. It was very enlightening for me just to experience something different, because I was brought up Catholic. I'm probably the only one of the kids that went to Catholic school. Maria did. Oh yeah, whoa. Maria did, because she was a bad girl.
I was gonna say she got in trouble from what I remember at Catholic school.
In
I
8th
was a
grade,
good
I tried to
girl.
teach her.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Ron. We'll have to
But
do
I'm
coffee.
the one that got pregnant. So hey, what did that do for me? I don't know.
Did you guys know that he was given a name, an Indian name? Did you know that? Because he would participate every year at the Sundances, and he was named Sundance Walker.
Yeah.
And Father Ron, oh goodness, the service you did for his funeral. I mean, the part that I remember the most was the sunflower. You know, comparing his life, how he followed, he always was, turned towards the sun.
Sunflower following the sun.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we could go on and on. I know we could, you know. I mean, I'm just so grateful to all of you that you shared Pat with me. And I got my daughter. You know, the one thing I was thinking of for the future, I don't know if this is even possible, but what I would love to do, Carol especially, Carol and, well, okay, so Gary's tend to have a lot of kids. And so Carol's kids, all of Tom's kids, Joe's kids, some of Dennis' kids, it would be nice to have a Zoom with the kids, I think, that generation, because, you know, I know they don't appreciate getting old, but, you know, as you start to age, I feel like I'm going to lose that opportunity if I don't get to know some of them better, you know. So I was thinking maybe next spring or something. I don't know if we could do it, but it's just an idea to put out there. If you think it would work to do a Zoom with the kids, you know.
Nice.
Do you really? Like Rose's kids. I mean, I met them once. I think some of them, the father, didn't he bring them here once? We were at Joe's house. Joe, remember that?
Probably.
Yeah.
Say
It's
that
really,
again.
really sad day today because their father is passing away. He's in.
Oh, and I only met him once, but he brought some of his kids with him, and that was the only time I've ever met Rose's kids. So I just
I'm
think,
gonna be honest with everybody on the screen. For me to listen with my hearing aids and my bad hearing, it's like everybody's at the end of a long tunnel, and I only pick up maybe half at best of the conversations. So I missed the question again.
you know what, two things, Joe. One is, have you ever looked into getting one of these? Because you could hear better on the computer. If we ever do this again, and you have a little microphone right on here. I use this for my meetup so people hear me better. But anyway, and so I hear people better. The question was, do you remember when Rose's husband brought some of their kids to your house? They were older, like almost like teenager, young 20s or whatever. They came to your house and I met them there. Rose's
children?
Yeah, and Rose's husband.
It was, vaguely, Melissa and Rochelle.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that was it.
I think it was just the two girls, yeah. And they were young adults, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. I don't recall what the occasion was, but.
I think they were traveling because her husband, Dick, has relatives in Minnesota. So I think they were just doing a long big trip.
That sounds right, yeah.
Family reunion, I think, Carol.
Pardon?
I think it was a big family reunion, if I remember.
Oh,
they stayed with us, I think, one night. And
a Bourne family reunion, yeah, probably.
Yeah, they were traveling from west to east, so Sioux Falls was the stop along the way to Minnesota. And I think they did a couple of days with all of Dick's family, which those kids have not ever met, I don't think. So,
yeah.
And luckily they included all of us.
Yeah, what a delight they were. Melissa at that time was into, I think she worked in a store that sold toys.
Yeah, a clown.
And she was a bit of a magician.
Oh.
And she enthralled my kids with some of her tricks. And I still have the little cups with the little yellow balls. There's 4 of them or something. I can't even do it. But they just love that trick. And Melissa just loved showing it to them.
Oh, cute.
I was thinking
Rochelle reminded me so much of Rose, the way she would talk at that time, I mean,
that's what I was just going to mention. Rochelle is Rose's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Rochelle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So Rochelle ended up messaging me on Facebook about, what was it, 6 or 7, 8 years ago, and she had 2 kids who were whatever cousins those are to me going to University of Texas with me at the exact same time, and we didn't know it. I mean, that's how big this family is that I was at school at that university with them, passing them, and didn't even know we were related. And we ended up all meeting for, dinner together a long time ago. But this family is so large, and I feel like I've been connected to a lot of the uncles and aunts and the ones that lived close to South Dakota, but like Carol, your kids that are in California, or Rose's kids, like Rochelle, who found me on Facebook like that. I mean, I feel like I've met them all, never, or maybe once, at some point, but so it'd be nice to get to know the generation below, who I don't know, who are at school with me and I don't even know it. So it's a big family.
Well, yeah, I hope we can do that. I'll put it out there again come, late winter or something as an idea, see if we can pull it together. I really appreciate all of you taking the time to do this, and I miss you all, and I'm grateful how you all have shaped my life.
Oh,
I love you all.
Nancy, thank you for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate it. It's the first successful Zoom we've had at home.
Oh, good. Oh, you got the camera working. I just realized.
I dragged the one home from the office.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for showing up. Love you.
Thank you,
Thank
Nancy.
you.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Love you all.
And I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be fun. Bring your swimsuit.
I'll try to remember, even though I'm going somewhere cold. I'll try to remember that.
Oh no, hot tubs are never cold. It's good. See you
Bye,
later,
bye.
everyone. Night.
Bye.